Hello and welcome to English Podcast, the place where simple, real-world tips meet your passion for learning English. And I'm absolutely delighted you're here with me today. If you've ever wished you could fast-track your English learning, to absorb new words without drilling endless lists, to feel comfortable chatting in English whenever you want, then today's episode is made just for you. Our topic is Surround Yourself with English, because immersing yourself in the language is the fastest, most natural way to become fluent. Over the next few minutes, I'll share why this approach works so well, how you can weave English into every corner of your life, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, and simple, actionable steps to make immersion part of your daily routine. You'll finish this episode with fresh ideas you can put into practice immediately, and I promise you, once you start surrounding yourself with English, you'll wonder why you ever studied any other way. Imagine for a moment that you've moved to an ocean-lined city where the only language spoken is English. From the moment you step outside your door, ordering coffee in the morning, chatting at the grocery store, listening to street musicians, you're soaking up English. Your brain is compelled to tune in and make sense of every sign, every conversation snippet, every jingle on the radio. This constant exposure turbocharges your learning. New words lodge themselves in your mind effortlessly. You begin to parse grammar structures naturally, and, most importantly, you build listening and speaking confidence simply by living the language. Now, I know most of us don't have the luxury of packing our bags and moving across the globe, but here's the secret. You can create that immersion environment right where you are. By surrounding yourself with English in your daily life, you give your brain the same rich, varied input that happens in an English-speaking country. And that is the key to unlocking faster progress and real fluency. Let's start by exploring why immersion works so well. Let me tell you once again here, immersion means to make your environment filled with English learning ways and live in an English learning world. When you only study English in isolated chunks, grammar rules on Monday, vocabulary lists on Tuesday, you're treating the language like a school subject. You memorize rules here, test yourself there, and then stash everything away in a dusty folder of passive knowledge. But your brain isn't wired to use language that way. It learns best when you see, hear, and use words in real contexts. Every sign you read, every snippet of dialogue you overhear, every song you hum along with sparks neural connections that weave vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar into a living network. Over time, your brain starts to predict patterns. Oh, that's how people ask for directions. Or, that's how we use past tense when telling a story. These patterns become second nature because you're exposed to them constantly. Immersion forces you to process language as it's really used, complete with idioms, contractions, and natural speed, so your listening and speaking muscles get the exercise they need to grow strong. Now you might be wondering, Hania, I don't live in London or New York. I don't have English-speaking friends. How can I possibly surround myself with English? Great question, and here's the good news. Immersion isn't about geography. It's about exposure and habit. You can build your personal English-only world right on your phone and in your home. Start by switching every bit of your digital life into English. Change your phone's language settings, your social media accounts, even your email interface. Suddenly, each notification, each app menu, each email subject line becomes a little vocabulary lesson. And because these words are part of the things you do dozens of times a day, they stick. Don't worry if you don't understand every single word at first. Your goal is to familiarize yourself with the shape and feel of English. Over time, you'll find that you no longer pause at every new term. Instead, you start to infer meaning from context, just like a child would. Next, let's bring English into your media diet. If you're used to watching movies or series in your native language, it's time for a switch. Choose shows, YouTube channels, or podcasts in English. Ideally, topics you already love, so you stay motivated. If you're into cooking, find an English language cooking vlog. If you love travel, subscribe to an English travel podcast. Begin with subtitles in your native language if you need them, then graduate to English subtitles. And finally, wean off subtitles entirely. Each stage pushes your listening comprehension forward a notch. And don't just passively watch. Actively note down interesting phrases, repeat sentences out loud, even imitate the speaker's intonation. This kind of active immersion seals vocabulary and sentence patterns into your speaking toolkit. But media alone isn't enough. True immersion requires interaction. That's why I encourage you to join English-speaking communities online. There are countless Facebook groups, Telegram chats, and Discord servers where people discuss every topic under the sun, in English. Whether you're into books, gaming, fitness, or finance, find a community that sparks your interest. Lurk for a bit to get comfortable, then start contributing. Ask questions, answer others, share your thoughts. The real power here is that you're using English to connect with real people over real interests. Every message you post, every reply you read, every chat you join reinforces your language skills in a vivid, meaningful context. And best of all, mistakes are welcomed. Native speakers often correct gently, and you learn in the moment. Let's not forget about your physical environment, too. You can Englishify your home by labeling everyday objects with sticky notes: refrigerator, mirror, bookshelf, sink. When you walk into your kitchen and see refrigerator on the door, your brain links the word to the object without conscious drilling. Every glance becomes a mini review session. And if you're someone who likes to decorate, why not craft a vision board of English words that represent your goals? Confidence, fluency, adventure, complete with pictures and motivational phrases? Placing that board where you see it every morning sparks that immersion magic instantly. Now, immersion also thrives on routine. Build a daily English ritual that you stick to, no matter how busy your day is. It could be sipping your morning coffee while reading an English news headline, or listening to a 10-minute English podcast during your lunch break. Perhaps you end your day by writing, or even better, speaking, 5 sentences about your day into a voice memo. The key is consistency. Even 10 minutes a day, when done every single day, compounds into massive progress over weeks and months. Think of it like watering a plant. A little water regularly keeps it alive and thriving. Skip days, and it withers. Make English that daily nourishment, and watch your skills blossom. Of course, immersing yourself in a new language can feel overwhelming at first. You'll encounter phrases you don't understand, speakers who talk too fast, grammar constructions you've never studied. But here's the empowering truth. Confusion is your friend. When you push yourself just beyond your comfort zone, your brain gears up to fill in the gaps and make sense of the new input. Every time you understand even a little more than before, you're rewiring your brain for fluency. Instead of shying away from difficulty, embrace it. Give yourself permission to be a beginner, to get lost sometimes. That's exactly how progress happens. Let's talk about an advanced immersion trick: setting up English-only zones in your day. Choose specific times or activities when you commit to using only English, no switching back to your native language. For example, during your evening commute, listen only to English music or podcasts. While exercising, think in English. Now I'm running faster. My heart feels strong. When cooking dinner, narrate your steps out loud in English. These zones don't have to be long. 15 or 20 minutes is enough. But because they're distraction-free and focused, they supercharge your listening and speaking practice. Over time, these short, intensive bursts build the mental pathways you need for spontaneous conversation. Immersion also thrives on social accountability. Share your immersion goal with a friend or family member, even if they're not learning English themselves, and ask them to check in with you. Better yet, find a fellow learner and create a language pact. Agree to meet, virtually or in person, for regular English-only meetups, coffee chats, walks, study sessions. Knowing you have a scheduled immersion session makes it far more likely you'll show up and stay focused. And because you're committing to someone else, you're less tempted to slip back into your comfort zone. Before we pause for a quick break, let's address a question I often hear. Isn't immersion supposed to be passive? Do I need to take notes and study, or can I just soak up English naturally? The answer is both. Start with passive exposure. Listen, watch, read, and allow your brain to detect patterns on its own. But to accelerate learning, sprinkle in active review. Jot down new words that light you up. Practice pronouncing sentences that feel awkward. Quiz yourself gently on phrases you want to remember. The combination of passive and active strategies transforms your immersion from a background hum into a powerful engine of progress. Okay, everyone, this brings us to the end of the first part of today's episode. Take a moment now to stretch your legs, grab a glass of water, maybe step outside for a 2-minute breath of fresh air. Let these ideas sink in, and get ready for the final stretch, where we'll dive into even more creative immersion techniques, troubleshoot common pitfalls, and wrap up with a challenge that will ignite your English journey. Don't forget to like and share this episode with your friends who are also learning English, because the more people we help surround themselves with English, the stronger our global community grows. I'll see you in just a moment for the exciting conclusion of this Surround Yourself with English episode. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you feel refreshed and ready for the final stretch of today's episode on Surround Yourself with English. In this part, we're going even deeper. I'll share some creative immersion hacks you may not have tried. We'll troubleshoot common challenges that pop up when you immerse yourself, and I'll leave you with a powerful challenge to supercharge your English growth. Let's dive right in. Imagine if every part of your day were sprinkled with English in unexpected, delightful ways. One trick I love is to turn your hobbies into English playgrounds. Do you like cooking? Seek out English language recipes, blogs, YouTube channels, or even Instagram chefs, and follow along in English only as you chop and stir, read the instructions, repeat them out loud. Now I'm sautéing the onions until they're golden. This blends speaking, listening, and reading all at once in a context you enjoy. If you're into fitness, switch your workout videos to English trainers. Listen as they count reps, correct form, and cheer you on. Your brain picks up sports vocabulary naturally. Lunge, plank, burpee, and your ears get tuned to the rhythm of native speech. Music is another secret weapon for immersion. Create playlists in English, but don't just listen. Engage. Choose a song you love and print out the lyrics. Read them while you listen, then cover the words, and try to sing along. Pay attention to how the singer links sounds, drops consonants, or stretches syllables. Singing out loud trains your mouth and vocal cords to produce authentic English sounds. Plus, songs get stuck in your head, so you're memorizing phrases without effort. Change your phone's ringtone to a favorite English tune, so each call reminds you of new vocabulary. If you're a reader, try turning your home into a mini English library. Pick up a few easy readers, books written for English learners at your level, and place them on your nightstand or coffee table. Even better, subscribe to an English magazine or newspaper that aligns with your interests, whether it's fashion, technology, or sports. Skimming the headlines in the morning becomes a daily habit, and soon you'll find yourself casually dropping new words into your speech. I read today that scientists discovered a new exoplanet. Now let's talk about tech-driven immersion. We already switched your phone and apps to English, but we can go further. Install a browser extension that translates web pages into English automatically. When you search for anything online, you'll read the results and the articles in English. If you use e-readers, change their settings so that dictionary lookups appear in English. This way, when you tap an unknown word, you see an English definition, reinforcing your contextual understanding. And try dictation. Use your phone's voice-to-text feature to speak messages or notes in English. This trains your recognition of spoken English and highlights where your pronunciation might need fine-tuning. For a truly immersive experience, cultivate micro-conversations throughout your day. When you leave the house, narrate your journey out loud. I'm locking the door now. The weather looks sunny. I think I'll wear sunglasses. In the car or on the bus, listen to an English audiobook and pause every few minutes to summarize aloud what just happened in your own words. This forces your mind to actively process and produce English, rather than just passively consuming it. If you have a pet, talk to them in English. Hey buddy, time for your walk. It might feel silly, but every bit of spontaneous speaking counts. Of course, immersion isn't always rainbows and butterflies. Let's address some common pitfalls and how to overcome them. First, you may find yourself reverting to your native language when things get tough. You're watching a movie, the plot gets complex, and you switch back to subtitles in your own language. To avoid this, set a rule. No native language subtitles for at least the first half of the show. If you miss a keyword, pause and ask yourself what it might mean from context. Then jot it down to look up later. This little pause builds your inference skills and keeps you in English mode. Second, you might feel overwhelmed by the volume of new words. You see 10 new terms in a single episode and start panicking. I can't learn them all. Here's the solution. Focus on highlights, not on memorizing every new word. As you immerse, pick 1 or 2 words or phrases per session that truly catch your interest. Maybe a colorful idiom or a phrasal verb you've never heard, and make them your immersion gems. Use those gems in sentences immediately. Practice them aloud, and you'll remember them far better than if you tried to cram a dozen at once. Third, there's the dreaded immersion fatigue. After a week of podcasts, videos, and self-talk in English, you might feel drained and start skipping your English time. If this happens, lighten the load by turning immersion into a game. Challenge yourself to find 5 English signs in your neighborhood, menus, billboards, flyers, and read them aloud with expression. Or have a karaoke night with English songs, complete with dramatic gestures and fun costumes if you like. Gamifying your immersion taps into your playful side and refreshes your motivation. Another challenge is when you're surrounded by content that's too advanced. News broadcasts or academic lectures can feel like drinking from a fire hose. If you're consistently overwhelmed, step back to graded materials designed for learners, like beginner podcasts or simplified news websites such as VOA Learning English. Once you regain confidence, gradually increase the difficulty. This staircase approach prevents burnout and builds steady progress. Now, let's layer in some social magic. I mentioned online communities earlier, but you can take it further by hosting your own English evening. Invite a few friends, whether they're fellow learners or native speakers, over for a themed event, maybe a movie night in English, a board game played in English, or a simple dinner where everyone shares the recipe in English. You set a playful rule: only English is allowed. The novelty of the event, combined with the implicit social contract, makes it easier and more enjoyable to speak up, laugh at mistakes, and learn from one another. If in-person events aren't possible, create a virtual English book club or movie club. Pick a short article or a 20-minute clip, agree on a time to meet, and discuss it in English. Keep the group small. 2 or 3 people, to reduce the fear factor and focus on curiosity. Ask each other what surprised you, what expressions you liked, what questions you have. This low-pressure discussion hones both your listening and speaking skills, and the anticipation of the meeting encourages you to prepare in English. One more immersion gem. Turn household chores into English challenges. Label your cleaning routine with an English checklist taped to your washing machine or cleaning cabinet. Dust the shelves, vacuum the carpet, soak the dishes. Read each step aloud before you do it and narrate your actions. Now I'm vacuuming under the sofa. Simple tasks become speaking drills, and because you repeat them regularly, the language patterns become deeply ingrained. As we near the end, let's crystallize everything into a final challenge, one that will transform your relationship with English. I want you to declare a 7-day English immersion sprint. Here's how it works. From the moment you wake up until 2 hours before you sleep for the next 7 days, surround yourself with English in at least 5 distinct ways every single day. For instance, day 1 might include your phone in English, a morning news podcast, sticky note labels around your home, an online chat group, and cooking with an English recipe. Day 2, you swap in a YouTube lesson, a song sing-along, a dictation exercise, a virtual coffee chat, and a self-narration walk. Mix it up, keep it fun, and track your activities in a simple journal where you jot down which 5 immersion methods you used each day and how they made you feel. On day 8, review your journal and celebrate the habits you've built. Why does this work? Because by compressing a week of immersive practice, you spark a huge neural jump. Your brain's language centers light up with constant, varied input, and your speaking muscles get maximally stretched in a short time. You'll emerge from this sprint with not just new vocabulary and sharper listening skills, but with an invigorated mindset. You'll see that English isn't some distant goal. It's something you live and breathe every day. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with a few words of encouragement. Immersion isn't a magic pill. It's a marathon of micro steps. You'll have days when you understand almost nothing, and days when you surprise yourself by thinking in English. Both are signs of growth. Embrace the discomfort, celebrate the tiny victories, and remember, every moment you spend in English, you're reprogramming your brain for fluency. Thank you so much for joining me on this 2-part journey through Surround Yourself with English. I hope you're brimming with ideas to turn your world into an English playground. If you loved this episode, please hit that like button, share it with friends who are on their own English learning adventure, and subscribe to English Podcast so you never miss a new immersive tip. And don't forget, take on our 7-day immersion sprint and let me know how it goes. Share your journal, your favorite hacks, and your breakthroughs in the comments or on social media. I can't wait to hear about your progress. Until next time, keep your ears open, your mouth moving, and your heart curious. This is Hania, cheering you on every step of the way. Happy immersing.